Let me briefly introduce our main character first, before anyone else. Seok-ryu, the outgoing, lively, and carefree female lead. In contrast, her male friend, Choi Seung-hyo, appears quiet and calm on the outside. But inside, he harbors an indescribable feeling for his friend. They are like two opposite poles of a magnet. Yet, they are childhood friends and exemplary students at school, and they used to be very close. Until that incident happened, causing them to gradually grow apart, pretending to be close friends in front of their parents. But behind their backs, they act like strangers. This long-lasting relationship continues until they start a secret agreement. Will this agreement help before anyone else? Seok-ryu and Choi Seung-hyo return to how they were before? If you're as curious as a snail, then stay tuned. Countless awards for Best Actress, certificates for excellent students overall, and family photos show that this is one of those ideal families. In the living room, lively conversations are heard. This dish is so delicious, CEO La. At this rate, you'll quit acting to open a bakery. No way. Oh no, I'm just learning for passion. Doing it for passion and it tastes this good is amazing, ma'am. The flavor is no different from a cake made by a professional. Really? Choi Seung-hyo, you're so talented. Seo Hae-suk smiled, praising, you teach your child well. I feel very reassured letting before anyone else Seok-ryu play with Choi Seung-hyo, replied Kim's mother. Me too. I'm glad Choi Seung-hyo has such a lovely friend like before anyone else. Seok-ryu. Seo Hae-suk laughed. Ha ha, we're both very lucky, aren't we? At that moment, a figure came down the stairs. Hello, Mrs. Kim. Hearing that, she turned and smiled, saying, hello, before anyone else. Seok-ryu. Choi Seung-hyo also greeted. Are you ready? Yes. Before anyone else. Seok-ryu smiled and said, let's go. Choi Seung-hyo. Choi Seung-hyo looked at her and slightly smiled. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu stepped forward and hugged Mrs. Kim warmly. We have to go to the library now. See you later, the kid said. Mrs. Kim kindly replied, all right, see you later. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu said, you must come again. Meanwhile, Jihan, wearing a backpack, stood up and politely spoke to Seo Hae-suk. The cake was delicious, thank you, ma'am. Yes, Seo Hae-suk waved goodbye. If you like it, I'm happy. Study well, both of you. Both before anyone else, Seok-ryu and Choi Seung-hyo obediently said, we're going now, then turned and left. The two mothers looked at their backs happily. They always go to school together like this. It's really good, isn't it? Yes, because most kids tend to grow apart as they get older. Our kids seem to be very good friends. Just then, the door slammed, and the two who were just close immediately separated. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu couldn't help but laugh. Wow, your acting has improved, Choi Seung-hyo. Choi Seung-hyo coldly replied, I was gonna say the same to you. Then they parted ways. Choi Seung-hyo reminded, don't forget our dinner plan. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu replied, of course. As she walked away, taking out a mirror from her bag to fix her hair at the back, Choi Seung-hyo quietly glanced at her. They are best friends in front of their parents. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu and Choi Seung-hyo still have to pretend to be exemplary students, but when out of sight, they are like strangers. That's how they are. Junse and Choi Seung-hyo are maintaining a fake relationship. After making a secret agreement, Choi Seung-hyo and before anyone else, Seok-ryu's long, painful relationship began when they first met on a famous reality show about child rearing 15 years ago. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu's mother, Seo Hae-suk, was a famous actress in Korea, and Choi Seung-hyo's mother was a successful, well-known chef. The two mothers quickly became friends after meeting on the show. As a result, the two kids also often met since joining that show. Choi Seung-hyo and before anyone else, Seok-ryu are two opposites. When they were young, before anyone else, Seok-ryu was so mischievous she was nicknamed Troublemaker, while Choi Seung-hyo was called Prince, a name that suited him well. Thanks to before anyone else, Seok-ryu's efforts, they quickly became closer. Although they are no longer close now, they used to be very close until one day before anyone else, Seok-ryu's father passed away. Oh my god. His daughter is still so young, and her father died so early. Poor kid. It's okay. Her mother is an actress, so surely someone else will come soon. Please don't film anything. Sorry, no cameras allowed here. There will definitely be someone else soon. Please don't film anything. Sorry, please do not bring cameras in here. The noise increased due to the chatter of the people around. At that time, Choi Seung-hyo was also present. His eyes never left before anyone else, Seok-ryu, making her unable to resist glancing at him. Surely there were times when they were each other's support. Anyway, the reason the two of them created this mess was because of June before anyone else, Seok-ryu's mother, who is extremely protective whenever she talks about her. She is very determined about not letting her date, so unless she says she is going to meet Choi Seung-hyo, a model student, otherwise, she will interrogate about everything. Choi Seung-hyo's parents are also strict, similarly, except they don't like him playing games. That's why last year they made a pact that whenever they want to escape their noisy parents, they will pick a day and tell their two mothers that they will go together, conveniently CEO. It hasn't been explained why her mother intervenes in her love life so early, right? The powerful electric guitar sound rang out along with the strong vocals of the rock singer on stage, making the atmosphere hotter than ever. Not far away, there was a bakery selling very well. Special strawberry sandwiches. A male student smiled and handed the sandwich to the girl who took it. I didn't expect to have a chance to eat a sandwich while enjoying the performance. How wonderful. The male student replied with a wish for a good meal. When the male student looked up, a filter full of black roses was attached to him. Huh? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu stood not far away, happily waving at Kang Dan-ho, the person before anyone else Seok-ryu secretly liked. Briefly about Jun Se-yen's love history, it was quite shocking, and before anyone else Seok-ryu was the type to easily fall in love. Her first love lasted a week, but the other person suddenly broke up and said he needed to attend a hip-hop audition. The second love lasted 3 days and ended immediately after the CEO's mother found out about them. The third love lasted only 1 day. The reason for the breakup was because he wanted to respond to fans' love through his music. And before anyone else, Seok-ryu's current crush is named Kang Dan-ho. Earlier, before anyone else, Seok-ryu mentioned him, but she wanted to remind that her mother is extremely protective of her. Only for her mother doesn't approve of anyone except model students like Choi Seung-hyo. Back to the present, Kang Dan-ho was very friendly and started a conversation. I thought you said you couldn't come today, but you live quite far away. Yes. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu pouted a little. I was free today, so I stopped by. She felt happy inside. Actually, I tried to arrange time to come here and stop by a bit. She then asked if he was working for his sister again today. Kang Dan-ho replied, yeah, she has something to do and a performance, so she's not too busy. Kang Dan-ho said, why not sit and hang out a bit? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu smiled. The atmosphere in the bakery was much cooler. The wall inside was decorated with many photos and messages. Kang Dan-ho looked at before anyone else Seok-ryu and tilted his head, asking if the new dish was good. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu nodded while eating. Very delicious. Did you make this, Kang Dan-ho? Kang Dan-ho laughed. Not yet. I haven't reached that level. My sister made it. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu replied. Oh, you make good sandwiches too. But before she finished the sentence, the phone on the table suddenly rang. Wait a moment. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu said. Seeing the caller was Choi Seung-hyo. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu quickly took the phone and went outside. She answered, hello, Choi Seung-hyo. However, there was a performance outside, so it was very noisy. The other side said something, but before anyone else, Seok-ryu couldn't hear clearly. Huh? What did you say? I can't hear you. The other party then spoke louder. I asked, where are you? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu. The loud sound from Choi Seung-hyo made her ears hurt. She had no choice but to go back inside the shop to listen. Okay, I'll come right away. Yeah. I'll be there soon, being urged continuously. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu had no choice but to pick up her bag. She waved goodbye. See you later, Kang Dan-ho. I really have to go now. Thank you for today. Kang Dan-ho watched before anyone else Seok-ryu's figure without replying. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu arrived at the bus stop first. She was looking at her phone, hesitating whether to wait for the bus or call a taxi since the bus would take a while. She kept pacing back and forth. She wanted to see Kang Dan-ho without her mother finding out, so she had to worry about everything. We haven't met for a long time, and finding the right time is difficult. But if I use Choi Seung-hyo as an excuse, my mother will let me go. I should be grateful for that, so I'm happy to have met Kang Dan-ho even if it was just a brief moment. Well, let's hide it as long as we can. Not long after, at a restaurant. Have you made a reservation? Please go this way. I will lead you. The polite waiter greeted them as Choi Seung-hyo, and before anyone else, Seok-ryu entered the restaurant. Choi Seung-hyo walked behind, looking at before anyone else Seok-ryu, and suddenly noticed something unusual. Earlier, you were wearing a hoodie, right? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu then remembered and replied, oh yes, that's right. I borrowed it from Kang Dan-ho. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu took off his jacket and hugged it lovingly. When should I return the jacket to him now? Choi Seung-hyo stood beside and seeing her dazed expression, felt a bit helpless. After a while, both of them arrived at the second banquet table. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu and Choi Seung-hyo politely greeted the elders. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu sat down at the table. She cut a piece of steak and put it in her mouth. Next to her, Choi Seung-hyo smiled and started a conversation. Auntie, how far along are you with the wedding preparations? I heard that icon Luna will sing that day. I'm really looking forward to watching. Then Seo Haesuk glanced at the man beside her and spoke. Oh, about that. At that moment, before anyone else, Seok-ryu was still enthusiastically eating, but his mood completely vanished. When should I return the hoodie to him? I wonder if I'll see him tomorrow when I go. Sao Haesuk said from across the table. The two elders were discussing who would sing at the wedding and didn't know if the two kids could do it. Holding Choi Seung-hyo's plate, she suddenly paused as the steak near before anyone else Seok-ryu's mouth lost its appeal. Hello? This is a bit sudden, Mom. Didn't you say Icon would sing at the wedding? So this is why you called us here? Seo Haesuk explained. Ika said she couldn't come because she had something to do that day. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu is worried about you kids since you're students and have midterms coming up. There are many people. Why does it have to be you two? Seo Haesuk asked back, why did you choose the two of us? She put her wine glass down with a clink and laughed. Because you two are a couple. A wedding song is about love, so I think having a couple like you two sing will be more romantic. Upon hearing this, both the CEO and Choi Seung-hyo froze. After 5 seconds, the couple glanced at each other. The CEO was the first to speak. Come on now. Mom, you're joking, right? He and I are not like that, we're just classmates. Yes, Seo Haesuk obviously didn't believe it. Oh dear, Mom knows everything. I know all about it. Mom even knows you two meet every day. How can you be just friends? The man beside saw the two young people awkwardly and said, "Say something, Seo Haesuk. Maybe we're asking too much of the kids." But Seo Haesuk didn't think so. "No, honey, I wouldn't ask for anything unreasonable." "Yes, CEO," helplessly wanting to object. "It's unreasonable," Seo Haesuk argued. "And you always dress nicely whenever you go out with Choi Seung-hyo." "CEO, that's adorable." The CEO had no words left to say. "It's because those days I was going to meet my lover." Seeing that she didn't respond, the old CEO mother could only put on a pitiful face. "So, Mom is asking too much, right?" Choi Seung-hyo said. "Aren't you two dating?" Choi Seung-hyo reluctantly said, "Ha ha." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu sitting beside nervously gripped the skirt. Sweat poured out. "Whoa, damn it, we're trapped. Where do we start explaining so Mom understands?" "No way Mom will understand if we tell the truth. She'll find out. Everything we've said before was a lie, right? Or maybe Mom is just too sharp. I've used Choi Seung-hyo as an excuse whenever I go out. Mom found it strange, which is understandable, but I don't want to lie blatantly anymore. That's not what I want, but with Mom's personality, she'll nag in my ear all year. If I get grounded and can't go out anymore, what then? Why didn't I think of this case? Please, if there's another way." Choi Seung-hyo glanced at him and saw the CEO was extremely tense, then suddenly spoke. "Yes, Miss Seo Haesuk, that's right. We are dating," Choi Seung-hyo announced. "We will sing at the wedding." Seeing before anyone else Seok-ryu's shocked face, it was clear this was the first time she heard such a ridiculous thing. "So you're dating but even you didn't know? And yet the CEO opposite is extremely happy." "Wow, that's great. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu, you agree too, right? Thank you both." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu bowed her head, her two fingers quickly typing on the phone screen, and sent a message to Choi Seung-hyo. The phone in his pocket vibrated once. Choi Seung-hyo immediately opened it and saw before anyone else Seok-ryu's message. "What did you just do? What are you planning to do?" Choi Seung-hyo exhaled and replied, "So now should we tell the truth?" Miss before anyone else, Seok-ryu panicked. No, that's not allowed. Choi Seung-hyo texted that you guys should meet, to be able to date and play games with others. But unexpectedly, she thought you guys were going on a date. Tell your mother that. It's not the right time or place to confess, and in the last message, Choi Seung-hyo said so. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu stared at the screen. Of course, she knew he wasn't lying, so she had no choice but to grit her teeth and endure it. In SAO, people always repeat mistakes. Again and again, I forget something important. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu glanced at the person beside her. Choi Seung-hyo. "What are you going to do with this fluffy mess?" She suddenly remembered something. Forgot that Choi Seung-hyo is even thicker skinned than he looks. If Young Moeum heard about tonight, she'd definitely say this. "Let me see. You're really an idiot. The two of you have been using the contract as an excuse for a year now. Besides, my mom isn't clueless either, yet I kept thinking she wouldn't misunderstand. Unbelievable. It was a mistake to think Mom only saw us as kids. Now that I think about it, when I had to go to school with Choi Seung-hyo, it turns out I was going on a date with someone else. Mom seemed a bit too excited when she saw me picking out clothes. Just thinking about it gave before anyone else Seok-ryu chills. IU glanced at him and immediately realized he was okay. From before anyone else Seok-ryu's side, it seemed like nothing happened, laughing and chatting. "Yeah, I'm fine." IU didn't believe it. Looking at him, he didn't seem fine at all. Inside, before anyone else, Seok-ryu felt helpless and wanted to say everything was not okay. "Yes, after hearing those shocking words, yes, we are dating. We will sing at your wedding." Then before anyone else, Seok-ryu had loved Choi Seung-hyo for about a minute. Suddenly, Choi Seung-hyo reached out and gently patted her shoulder, then leaned in to whisper, "Just this once. Because it's just this once. Your mom has always been very kind to me. How could I refuse? Seeing your mom so hopeful." But before anyone else, Seok-ryu looked at her sparkling face, feeling extremely helpless inside. "Damn it, we'll sing." She couldn't find words to refuse. Hearing that, Seola's face lit up even more. She was so excited she stood up and said, "Thank you, you guys. Did you hear that? Seon, the kids agreed to sing at your wedding. Let's go on a double date to celebrate. Or maybe a couple's trip? Choi Seung-hyo, do you want to eat anything else? You two make me so happy. Thank you both." And that's how dinner ended. CE felt extremely regretful. Why didn't I give Mom time to think it over? Better to just confess to Mom that we can't do it before it's too late. Thinking that, her spirit ignited. That's right, today I'll convince Choi Seung-hyo. Just tell the truth and apologize. He may be thick-skinned, but he must still have a conscience. When they arrived at class, before anyone else, Seok-ryu quickly started acting. She brought books and deliberately approached Choi Seung-hyo. "Choi Seung-hyo, do you have the homework?" After saying half of it, he froze and looked around nervously. She didn't understand why he was so tense. It had been a long time since she talked to him at school. After calming down, she leaned in and whispered, "About us telling Mom that we're dating." Suddenly, a classmate shouted, "It's true! Now you two don't even bother hiding it. You two never talk at school, you idiots. It's been a year since you started middle school together." Everyone's eyes in class were fixed on the two of them. The level of gossip skyrocketed, leaving before anyone else Seok-ryu and Choi Seung-hyo extremely shocked. Two male students laughed and said, Choi Seung-hyo, before anyone else Seok-ryu, everyone knows you're dating. Someone even posted a photo of you two together on Facebook. Before anyone else Seok-ryu was dumbfounded. What are you talking about? Classmates bombarded them with questions. Since when have you two been dating? CEO, want to explain? Wait, you've kept in touch since that show? Your mom is going to marry the animal school producer, right? Before anyone else Seok-ryu was drowning in questions. At this rate, how could he convince Choi Seung-hyo with just his eyes? What the hell is going on? That's how it is. But she didn't give up and tried to talk to Choi Seung-hyo a few more times. First period was PE, second was self-study, third was duty, but every time she failed thanks to luck. The classmates always stared with the same fascinated look as her mom. Before anyone else Seok-ryu thought silently until the tutor said so. During lunch break, IU gave before anyone else Seok-ryu a very disdainful look. You really are hopeless. Before anyone else Seok-ryu was a bit surprised, expecting her to just call him stupid. She even added hopeless on top of that. She took out her phone and opened a post. She said no matter what. I saw this post on Facebook this morning and thought it was weird. I've never seen you walk with Choi Seung-hyo at school. Then CEO took the phone to see the headline. Seo Hae-suk appeared at Ghana store. It was recounted that in real life, she is truly beautiful, walking alongside the producer. Rumors say they are about to get married. The CEO and Choi Seung-hyo also went with them as they stepped outside. I overheard them talking. It seems the two young people are also dating. Let everyone see this photo I took. Before anyone else Seok-ryu glanced at it and implicitly understood it was about this post. Jung-mo-eum found it a bit funny and unbelievable that the two of them actually have an agreement. Sometimes they are really strange. It turns out this is interesting, huh? Haha, just go ahead and date for real. Slowly, before anyone else Seok-ryu, 0 points for love, stop laughing. How can you say that? Anyway, stop for a moment. Before anyone else Seok-ryu felt a bit guilty and looked up at you, Are you mad at me? This is the first time I'm telling you this. Now Jung-mo-eum feels there's nothing wrong. Of course not. And besides, you already told me. I know you have a reason you can't tell me. And when you're ready, you'll definitely tell me, right? Then he came over and hugged his excited friend. That's why I like you. Luckily, we go to the same school. I love you. Jung-mo-eum's expression was a bit resentful. Oh, by the way, I have something to ask. You said you would study abroad after the fight with Choi Seung-hyo, so why did you make an agreement with him, but not with anyone else? Hearing that, the smile on before anyone else Seok-ryu's face suddenly faded. She suddenly remembered. Why did I do that? I don't really remember either. Yuan said, come on, don't disappoint me like that. Before anyone else Seok-ryu laughed awkwardly, avoiding the topic. Who knows? Let's take a walk and burn some calories after school at the cafe near the school. Before anyone else Seok-ryu looked at his phone dejectedly. Why hasn't he come yet? Kang Dan-ho hasn't contacted me. I was really worried. At that moment, suddenly a figure appeared. Before anyone else Seok-ryu tilted his head, a bit unhappy. Why are you late? You usually come before me. I waited for you a long time. Choi Seung-hyo looked surprised. You waited for me? Yeah. Before anyone else Seok-ryu replied. Wait a moment. She used that flattering look again. Choi Seung-hyo, you're so kind and you still have a conscience, right? I know things are a bit out of control now, but don't you think it's better for us to be honest with our parents before things get worse? You know, the longer we wait, the worse it gets. Choi Seung-hyo was a bit pensive. After a long while, he lifted his eyes to look at her, indifferent as usual. So you came to see me today just to talk about this? You're the one who suggested it, and even if we tell them the truth, they'll only lecture us about it. Hey, before anyone else Seok-ryu was unhappy with his attitude and slammed the table loudly, causing a ruckus. Come on, enough already. The guy I was talking to suddenly cut off contact with me. Maybe it's because of this. We have to tell our parents the truth soon, so they'll be less angry. If they find out on their own, who knows what will happen. Just imagine. Yeah, before anyone else Seok-ryu complained a lot, but Choi Seung-hyo still calmly did his work. He didn't listen to a word she said, which made before anyone else Seok-ryu even angrier. He's always like this, not saying anything at times like this. He's been like that since he was little. Suddenly, someone came over and placed a stack of books on the table. Alright, enough talking. Let's study. Choi Seung-hyo turned to remind him. It's time for class. The CEO's expression seemed to be holding back anger. Don't you feel guilty toward me? 2 hours passed. Thank you. The CEO and Choi Seung-hyo said in unison, and then left the cafe. Meanwhile, before anyone else Seok-ryu kept nagging non-stop. Choi Seung-hyo thought about what I said. Come on, let's talk. Maybe we'll be forgiven. Choi Seung-hyo sighed helplessly. You're too persistent. Just let it go. Before anyone else Seok-ryu didn't give up. Think carefully. I'm busy today. We'll talk more tomorrow. Then she smiled brightly and walked forward as if she had no worries all day because she still had to buy a gift for Jimmy. Next time you meet, give it to him. Suddenly, a familiar voice called out. The smile on before anyone else Seok-ryu's face suddenly froze, while another person planned to stop by the internet cafe after lying to their parents about going to the library with before anyone else Seok-ryu. The car sped down the road until it stopped at a red light, when Seo Hae-suk asked if the kids had chosen a song for the wedding yet. Choi Seung-hyo smiled and replied, "Yes, ma'am. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu and I are discussing which song to sing." Hearing that, before anyone else, Seok-ryu turned and disdainfully glanced at Choi Seung-hyo, calling him thick-skinned, but then she felt sad. Maybe he doesn't intend to say it. Well then, I guess I have no choice but to apologize to my parents myself. Will they forgive me? I'm so bored. I never expected things to turn out like this. I just didn't want mom to worry about me while I'm enjoying my own freedom. Seeing before anyone else Seok-ryu staying silent, Seo-hye-suk glanced back and suddenly said, "Be honest, for mom's sake. You two were tense about singing yesterday, right?" Hearing that, the two young men's backs stiffened immediately. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu sat up abruptly, hesitating. Yes, well, Seo-hye-suk continued. Mom thought it over and realized she was just making you two do what she wanted. Instead of letting you do what you like, mom must have been too excited lately. She's been like this often. So when you two agreed right away, mom was very touched. Hearing that, the CEO raised his head and looked out the window, feeling terribly guilty. Seo-hye-suk kept talking. "Thank you both for caring about mom's feelings. So what mom wants to say is, if you couldn't say no yesterday because of the pressure, now just feel free to tell mom." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was very surprised to hear that. "Wait, now I can confess everything to mom? She'll definitely scold us for lying. But mom seems to be in a good mood today, so it probably won't be that bad." Seola's voice still echoed. "Mom thought a lot before deciding to say that. You both are so considerate, so mom thought maybe you lied just to make her happy." Hearing that, the two C's made up their minds. She laughed and turned to speak, but then heard mom say, "But thinking about the two people mom loves most in the world singing at mom's wedding. Mom feels very happy." Seo-hye-suk smiled brightly, unable to hide her joy. In contrast, the smile on the CEO's face instantly froze. Seo-hye-suk laughed loudly, "Ha ha ha. Mom will forgive everything, so just be honest." The atmosphere in the car was silent for a moment. Choi Seung-hyo glanced at the CEO. He noticed her emotional change, and Seo-hye-suk above still said, "Right, mom won't spoil the mood because she came to pick you up. Next time, do you two want to walk to make it like a date?" Choi Seung-hyo forced a laugh. "Ah ha ha. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was helpless, mom, come on." That night, before anyone else, Seok-ryu returned home to her bedroom. Young Mo-eum was playing games and asked, "So in the end, you still didn't tell mom? Why didn't you confess to mom at the restaurant? I thought you planned to tell her during dinner." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was unhappy and replied, "How could I say it then? But today, seeing mom's smiling face, I just couldn't." Pausing, she glared at her younger sister. "You know about it too, right? How much do you know?" "I know, so help me out." Seon's game stopped. A sound came from the console. "You won," Seon said sharply, then looked up at her sister and smiled. "Why do I have to do that? You and Choi Seung-hyo make a good couple." Yes, the CEO was very unhappy. "Forget it, you still have to study." "Get out quickly," Seon said, then sat up, wanting to jump off the bed. After her sister left, before anyone else, Seok-ryu sent a message to Kang Dan-ho. "What are you doing? Have you finished studying?" Looking at her phone screen, before anyone else, Seok-ryu thought to herself, "Just endure this for 3 months until the wedding is over." Meanwhile, at Kang Dan-ho's house, he had just finished showering when his phone lit up. The caller was before anyone else, Seok-ryu. Kang Dan-ho stared at the screen. After a while, he curved his lips into a delighted smile. "All right, we'll pull up the curtain." First is a super stylish two-piece set. Balanced and trendy design. Really suits them, right? The staff excitedly said. Oh my, Seo-hye-suk exclaimed. Indeed, the kids look like models. Mom has chosen a lovely pastel-toned outfit for the second style. This one looks cute and lovely too. The third outfit will be like a fun little wedding. Oh my, you kids really surprised mom. Like a princess and a prince. Oh my, all the outfits look great. Which one should mom choose now? Seo-hye-suk spoke quickly, then turned to ask the staff. What do you think? They will wear these to sing at my wedding. Do you think we should pick the third outfit because it looks very interesting? The staff smiled and said, the third outfit looks great, but based on their style and body shape, I think the first one fits better. Ah, Seoul answers like that? Oh, that's hard to decide. Across from them, the CEO was a bit impatient. When will the wedding happen? Why does time pass so slowly? It feels like torture, Choi Seung-hyo replied. We told mom we'd sing, so let's do our best and do what she wants without getting caught. I've never seen your mom so happy before. Yeah, before anyone else, Seok-ryu, it's less boring now. I know, I'm quite shocked too. When you saw her humming while driving this morning, you probably didn't feel comfortable either. You probably want to finish this as soon as possible, right? While Choi Seung-hyo remained silent without commenting, Seon suddenly came over teasingly and said, you two remind me of a criminal couple. Choi Seung-hyo didn't know what to say and just laughed, while the CEO grimaced and said, we're not like that. At that moment, Seo-hye-suk called out, look at these two, and both turned and smiled perfectly. Raising a like button, wow, very beautiful, Seon said, seeing through everything. You're right, you two really are scammers. Meanwhile, at the bakery, Kang Dan-ho was free, so he searched online for Seo-hye-suk's net worth. Just then, your sister stepped over. Kang Dan-ho, don't lie on the cash register like that. I told you to change into your uniform. I already did. Kang Dan-ho replied blandly, sorry, sis. Your sister said, You've been on the phone non-stop since yesterday. Is that the girl who often comes here? Why didn't you answer? I know you're purposely ignoring me. Are you two fighting? Just be honest with each other. The girl looks decent. Maybe she just wants to tell her story to clear up misunderstandings. Still, she looks familiar. Mid-sentence, Kang Dan-ho laughed and interrupted. I'll handle that myself. And why should I care whether she wants to tell her story or not? As for your sister, we're not fighting. You know how I am, your sister said, nagging again. Just then, someone suddenly asked, Excuse me, where is the restroom? Kang Dan-ho immediately sat up laughing, signaling, This way. Your sister hinted not to act foolish anymore, Kang Dan-ho. You're not gonna mess around with that girl, right? Do you even know anything about her? Kang Dan-ho turned, smirked slightly, then suddenly said, Of course, she's probably in class now. An hour later at a cafe near the school, Ji-yeon and before anyone else Seok-ryu finished class and left. The teacher put away her books and smiled. You all did well today. When you get your mock test results, bring them to me. If you have any worries, just tell me. I might not be able to help much, but I'll do my best to give you advice. You haven't confided in me lately. It makes me sad. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu held the teacher's hand. Please come outside with us. The teacher patted before anyone else Seok-ryu's head and smiled. Sorry, I just ordered food, so I have to wait. Sorry. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu looked a bit sad. Okay, we'll go first. Bye, sis. Okay. As they went outside, someone called. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu answered. Hello, Mom, is it raining? No, it's not raining here. Yes, I'm with Choi Seung-hyo. Are you happy? Mom, you don't have to come pick me up. They said it's just a shower. I think it will stop soon. Okay, Mom. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu looked up at the sky. Looking at the sky now, I don't think it will clear up quickly. Instead of going to the library, I'll go straight home. Of course, I can get home by myself. The call ended, and before anyone else, Seok-ryu kept walking. She looked at her phone, still worried. But Kang Dan-ho hadn't answered or picked up since yesterday. While walking, she suddenly remembered something, looked up, and quickly stepped forward, then grabbed Choi Seung-hyo's school bag. Choi Seung-hyo, she said suddenly. He glanced at before anyone else Seok-ryu's very serious face. Don't forget we have to practice at 10 p.m. after dinner. Try running, Choi Seung-hyo said helplessly. I know. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was very pleased. Okay, good. Then the two continued walking forward. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu teased Choi Seung-hyo and muttered, I heard it's going to rain today. Remember to bring an umbrella on Monday. Choi Seung-hyo replied, They said it's just a shower. But before anyone else, Seok-ryu kept saying, I know. But you should still bring one just in case. You don't know how unpredictable the weather can be. Inside the cafe, the teacher looked outside and happened to see the two quarreling, then smiled. The kids have been inseparable these days. After getting their cakes, the teacher planned to leave. Suddenly, she saw someone approaching. Jian was out of breath. Sis, her eyes urgent. I need your help. Please give me advice. Outside, the rain poured down. In CEO Choi Seung-hyo's room, he picked out a playlist of wedding songs and handed it over to the CEO. Pick one. I think we have a bunch to choose from. The wedding songs are done. He handed them to the CEO to pick one. Choose a song. I think we have a list to choose from. That's it. We agreed to pick one song within 30 minutes and then start practicing. But now it's been an hour. All right. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu looked through the list. There are really many. Then she acted up and said, No, that won't do. Do you know how important it is to choose a song? You know that. If everything doesn't go according to plan, that's fine, she said indifferently while taking her phone, then suggested, So let's take a 5-minute break. Jihan was silent, not saying anything. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu opened the chat window and looked at the message he sent to Kang Dan-ho yesterday. It was extremely disappointing. She was frustrated and leaned back. Later, if someone who usually talks to you suddenly stops responding, what do you think the reason is? Choi Seung-hyo gave his opinion. Maybe they're busy. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu asked again, If you were me, what would you do? Choi Seung-hyo replied, Probably I would tell them. You can just ask them directly if needed. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu suddenly became serious and asked directly, Oh, you mean go meet them? Choi Seung-hyo nodded. Yes, only if necessary. Yeah. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu thought for a moment, then suddenly exclaimed, You're right. Just go find them and ask directly. That's it. Yeah. Why did I think you could only meet them when they call, right? You have to meet and ask why they didn't respond. Choi Seung-hyo looked frustrated and asked her, Are you talking about the person you like? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu suddenly leaned forward a bit. So Choi Seung-hyo, tomorrow after school, come with me to the sandwich shop where they work, okay? Just going with you means my mom won't suspect anything. And when we get there, we can continue practicing singing, because we couldn't finish today. Come with me, please. Under before anyone else, Seok-ryu's pleading gaze, Choi Seung-hyo seemed to forget to answer. Staying silent like that made before anyone else Seok-ryu even more anxious. Come on, please come with me. After the wedding, I won't ask you like this anymore. Just help me this once, auntie. Choi Seung-hyo helplessly said, I don't think this is the last time. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu didn't give up. I'll buy you a sandwich, okay? And just then, a loud bang echoed. the door to before anyone else. Seok-ryu's room was opened by Seok-hyo, who appeared smiling. How's the practice going, guys? Snacking a bit during practice. Seola's sudden appearance startled before anyone else Seok-ryu. She didn't have time to react and fell forward, accidentally hand-touching hand with Choi Seung-hyo. Seola just happened to see this scene. Naturally, she was very amused. Oh my god, keep working hard. She meant just be comfortable. Then she quickly turned her back and closed the door, not forgetting to remind them to take it easy and come downstairs to eat when hungry. After Seola left, the two quickly separated. Choi Seung-hyo teased, "Oh, do we need to pretend we're holding hands?" "Yes." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu glared at him, explaining, "The door opening suddenly startled me, so I fell. Now mom should be gone. Let's finish what we were talking about. Tomorrow you'll go with me, right?" Now Choi Seung-hyo was silent, not daring to look straight at him. 1 hour earlier, when Choi Seung-hyo returned to the cafe with the teacher's help, they both sat down to talk. After hearing the story, the teacher finally understood. "So you said you don't want to stop pretending to date, but you have to stop this farce after 3 months. Choi Seung-hyo nodded. The teacher put down the glass of water and said, "Anyway, they will find out your real relationship eventually, so why don't you take this chance and be honest with them? Surely your parents will understand." Pausing, the teacher asked, "Or is there another reason?" "Why, Choi Seung-hyo? Are you afraid the teacher will say something?" Choi Seung-hyo suddenly opened her mouth. "I just don't want to stop going to the internet cafe." Back to reality, the rain continued to fall. Yes, Choi Seung-hyo finally gave an answer. Hearing this, before anyone else, Seok-ryu was very happy. "I knew you'd agree. Promise me, okay?" Pausing, before anyone else, Seok-ryu looked out the window and exclaimed, "Wow, the rain is really heavy. It hasn't stopped yet. How do you plan to get home? See, I told you, you never know what will happen." Choi Seung-hyo quietly looked at before anyone else. "Seok-ryu, I know. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu will never like me. But anyway, we can't do anything about it." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu said. Choi Seung-hyo kept looking at her intently from behind. Your ears and neck were flushed red. Being next to him gave me hope. The rain grew heavier. Seeing the two kids go down to the living room, Seok-hyo worriedly said, "The rain is really heavy. I don't think it's safe outside right now. Let me take you home, Choi Seung-hyo. Do you want to stay over? Sleep here tonight?" Seok-hyo suddenly offered. "Remember when you were little?" Before anyone else, Seok-ryu caught a worm and smiled, asking, "What are you reading? Want to catch worms with me?" "He is really annoying, Jian. Sometimes before anyone else, Seok-ryu invites me to go out to see the cats. Let's just go back before we get caught." "We won't get caught. He is really noisy," Choi Seung-hyo complained. Until one time, Kim's mother asked him, "Before anyone else, Seok-ryu, are you okay?" Choi Seung-hyo was surprised. "Yes, mother, please explain more clearly." Mother heard that the girl had a severe ankle injury but still helped you return. Remember to thank her. Hearing that, Choi Seung-hyo was astonished and opened his eyes wide. And he was very strange too, until some time ago. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu suddenly asked Choi Seung-hyo, "Do you want to start an alliance agreement?" Choi Seung-hyo looked at her blankly. "I don't even know when this started." Back to the present. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu shouted loudly, "Ayani, stop tickling me. Don't push anymore. I'm about to fall." As soon as she finished speaking, before anyone else, Seok-ryu staggered. Fortunately, at that moment, a hand behind her firmly caught her. Choi Seung-hyo reminded her, "Don't joke around while going down the stairs. You almost fell." Before anyone else, Seung-hyo turned his head a bit embarrassed. "Sorry, heh. And I don't know since when Choi Seung-hyo no longer found before anyone else Seok-ryu annoying. A few hours earlier when Seok-hyo suggested Choi Seung-hyo stay, and he agreed. So Choi Seung-hyo and his fake girlfriend before anyone else Seok-ryu slept together in one house. They were forced to attend a tea party, more like an interrogation by before anyone else Seok-ryu's mother. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu and Choi Seung-hyo proved they were a perfect couple to before anyone else Seok-ryu's mother. Every time they couldn't answer, they would avoid the question by looking into each other's eyes. This way, they cleverly avoided answering her questions. After answering a series of tricky questions, before anyone else, Seok-ryu nervously looked at her mother's expression, thinking, "We don't look embarrassed, right? Or maybe not." Her mother's expression was a bit. Seok-hyo looked seriously at her daughter, evaluating. Say. Then her eyes glistened with tears, happily exclaiming, "I'm so relieved. Until now, you only loved jerks. So I was very worried about you. Until Choi Seung-hyo appeared like a saint to save Sei's life. Oh my god, thank God." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was speechless. So there was one more person, but it's best not to mention. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu and Choi Seung-hyo even surprised her mother by acting perfectly in this play. Back to the present. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu asked, "Do you feel awkward too?" Choi Seung-hyo frowned slightly. "No, don't do that." At this moment, Seola suddenly spoke up. "By the way, before anyone else, Seok-ryu, mother wants to ask you something. Have you been waiting for someone's call? Looking at you like you can't put your phone down." Meanwhile, Choi Seung-hyo just looked at you alone. He must be very sad. Hearing that, before anyone else, Seok-ryu suddenly broke out in a cold sweat. She was nervous and didn't know how to answer. Suddenly, Choi Seung-hyo spoke. He's waiting. Yes, but before he finished, before anyone else, Seok-ryu pulled his arm and ran clattering up the stairs, shouting loudly, "Oh my god, mother, when did you do that? Choi Seung-hyo, I'll take you to the guest room. Mom, you should go to sleep too. Let's go." When they reached the room, before anyone else, Seok-ryu had lost all her strength and fell back on the bed. Phew, I was so scared I ran away. So tired. How did mother realize so quickly, Aunt Choi? Seung-hyo was confused. Why did you run? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu replied, because I was afraid mother would ask more questions. Pausing a bit, she asked Choi Seung-hyo, aren't you out of breath? Sit down. Choi Seung-hyo took off his backpack, looked around. What? Hearing that, before anyone else, Seok-ryu immediately sat up. What? Then what hit her eyes was an empty room. The only place to sit was on the bed. Yes, before anyone else, Seok-ryu understood and moved aside. Haha, sorry for taking up all the space. Wait, let me move aside. Before she could finish, Choi Seung-hyo sat down, patted the bed. Just lie there. You said you were tired. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu said yes softly, feeling a bit shy inside. She picked up a stuffed animal and pulled its cheek, looking intently for a moment, then said, "Hey, by the way, am I being too obvious looking at my phone?" Choi Seung-hyo replied blandly, "Yeah, so?" Before anyone else, Seok-ryu excitedly looked over. Really? I thought I acted really well. Besides that time outside, was there any other time I looked embarrassed? Choi Seung-hyo honestly thought back to when his mother asked about their feelings for each other. You answered strangely. Remember then, when you heard the question, before anyone else, Seok-ryu stiffly patted Choi Seung-hyo's shoulder and laughed, replying, "Huh? Your answer was strange. Remember when you heard the question?" Before anyone else, Seok-ryu stiffly patted Choi Seung-hyo's shoulder and laughed, replying, "Huh? I don't remember either. Haha, that was us. Yeah, we liked each other. Hello." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu explained, "Oh my. It's just that I was too shocked at the time. Just a little mistake. If you were suddenly asked like that, you'd probably answer the same way. Then why don't you try answering, when did you like me?" Hearing this sudden question, Choi Seung-hyo hesitated a bit, and before anyone else, Seok-ryu didn't expect him to answer. She lay back on the bed. See? You couldn't answer anyway. That was the best answer I could give at that time. I couldn't stop looking at my phone. I really wanted him to contact me. Choi Seung-hyo turned his head away silently, and Cey kept talking. Speaking of which, I really want to date Kang Dan-ho. Do you still remember that we would be a couple? Until the song finished at the wedding, right? Then you should be careful. Choi Seung-hyo put his backpack down on the floor. Suddenly reminded, when you're with me in front of your mother, don't contact him, or show that you're waiting for him to contact you. The CEO was very surprised, not because of what you said, but because of your caution. Wow, Choi Seung-hyo, you're really a perfect guy, right? What's your MBTI? Choi Seung-hyo silently did his work without replying to her. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu sat up and said, "Okay, I won't do that anymore. I also don't want Mom to suspect us." Pausing a bit, she suddenly remembered something. "By the way, you already met Mom's boyfriend when we ate together last week, right? What do you think of him?" Now Choi Seung-hyo replied politely, "He seems like a good person." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu whispered with a smile, "Good, maybe this time. I also think he's a good person." So she was talking when before anyone else, Seok-ryu suddenly lunged forward, spreading her hand in front of Choi Seung-hyo, making him a bit surprised. Seeing Choi Seung-hyo's dumbfounded face, before anyone else, Seok-ryu laughed and said, "Come on, I'm waiting for you to high-five to get closer. Hurry up." Choi Seung-hyo paused for a moment, then put out his hand. "Here." Just as his hand was extended, Sey suddenly used her finger to lightly poke his hand. Choi Seung-hyo raised his tone a bit, then Sey laughed mischievously and high-fived him. "Got it? Your hand is a bit sensitive, huh?" "Haha," saying that, she happily ran out of the room, not forgetting to remind, "Don't forget our promise tomorrow. We will go meet Kang Dan-ho. Good night." Behind, Choi Seung-hyo watched before anyone else Seok-ryu's cheerful back, feeling a bit stiff. After a while, his hand unconsciously clenched tightly with a house, two thoughts. After returning, before anyone else, Seok-ryu stopped by her younger sister's room. At that moment, before anyone else, Seok-ryu was sitting at the desk, muttering while writing something. Jun, before anyone else, Seok-ryu and Choi Seung-hyo, what will happen to these two? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was a bit curious. What are you doing? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu replied, I'm writing a diary, then suddenly said something strange. Good luck. Yes. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was confused. What are you talking about? The next day, the sky was clear blue after the rain, with birds chirping. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was in a very good mood. She carried a stack of papers unsteadily up the stairs, a smile on her lips. The weather is so nice, I should quickly put these away and then go for a walk. Jung Moeum, just reaching the stair landing. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu saw a familiar figure. She saw Choi Seung-hyo happily talking with a male student. If it weren't for you, I would have been in trouble. No problem, next time just ask me. She saw Choi Seung-hyo's bright smile. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was a bit dazed. He was smiling. She recalled his sulky face yesterday. He looked very sad. At the same time, upstairs, Choi Seung-hyo and that male student finished talking. He walked down the stairs and just happened to meet before anyone else Seok-ryu's eyes. Both said nothing and passed each other, but Choi Seung-hyo's gaze was somewhat lingering despite his cold expression. But actually, inside before anyone else, Seok-ryu didn't understand herself. She felt like after yesterday, we both became strangers. But we are always like this at school. Even so, I thought lately we were closer. Am I the only one thinking this? Does he always find me annoying? This thought just crossed when suddenly, Choi Seung-hyo suddenly turned his head and spoke. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu, do you need help? Choi Seung-hyo. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu's voice also rang out at the same time. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu said, wait for me at the school gate after class, okay? My homeroom teacher. He wants to talk to me after class, so I want to tell you this first. Han helplessly watched before anyone else, Seok-ryu staggering. You could tell me after putting down that pile. It must be heavy. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu replied, yeah, sure. Others always look at us strangely when we talk at school, but I want to talk when it's just the two of us. Choi Seung-hyo silently looked at the pile of papers and before anyone else, Seok-ryu's hand for a moment, then finally responded and said, then you take half of the papers. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was a bit surprised. Ah, thank you. Aren't you going somewhere? Yes. Choi Seung-hyo replied calmly. I still have time. Are you planning to bring this to the science lab? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu nodded. Yes, but I know it might be a bit troublesome. But help me, okay? We're friends. Haha, just kidding. Choi Seung-hyo was silent again, not saying anything for a while before finally replying, all right. Hearing that, before anyone else, Seok-ryu suddenly froze. She thought Choi Seung-hyo wouldn't answer, but unexpectedly, he spoke. So she was so happy that she kept licking her lips. Ah, lovebirds, we were just about to go to a cafe together. I hope those people don't say anything. When they see us together, because you're helping me, it should be fine, right? Choi Seung-hyo didn't reply but kept looking at before anyone else, Seok-ryu with a slight smile. Until they reached the teacher's room, the teacher scolded Choi Seung-hyo. Choi Seung-hyo, I told you to come immediately. Why are you so late? Choi Seung-hyo felt a bit guilty, sorry sir. Meanwhile, before anyone else, Seok-ryu returned to the classroom feeling very cheerful, thinking she had nothing to worry about anymore and maybe from now on, she could joke around with him a little more. After school, at the sandwich shop, Kang Dan-ho smiled and said, hello. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu shyly replied, hello, then introduced, these are my friends IU, Un, and Jihan. They really wanted to try the waffles here, so I brought them along. Hearing that, two people behind her, one gave a fake smile, the other showed a bored expression. They didn't respond, making before anyone else Seok-ryu a bit embarrassed because she had begged hard to bring both of them here. But Kang Dan-ho was very friendly and cheerfully said, nice to meet you two, let me know when you want to order. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu replied, yes. At that moment, Young Mo-eum suddenly put her arm around before anyone else, Seok-ryu, and pulled her close, suspiciously asking, is this him? Yes. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu whispered, Kang Dan-ho. Yes, that's him. Young Mo-eum pointed to a poster on the wall that looked very fierce and said, so that's your guess? I thought so. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu hurriedly explained, no, he looks cool, but Kang Dan-ho is the guy at the cashier. Hearing that, Young Mo-eum glanced at Kang Dan-ho, then widened her eyes in surprise. What? Recalling before anyone else, Seok-ryu's ex-boyfriends. Jung Mo-eum couldn't help but admit the guy in front of her was really handsome, but she still wasn't satisfied and pinched before anyone else Seok-ryu's cheek. I still think he's not worthy of you. He looks like a player. What do you like about this guy? His appearance. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu answered excitedly. He's great. Young Mo-eum grimaced, teasing. Oh, you say everyone's great. She shook before anyone else Seok-ryu to snap her out of it, but before anyone else Seok-ryu wasn't affected and kept casually glancing at Kang Dan-ho. Honestly, if you only care about looks, he's even better. Meanwhile, Choi Seung-hyo was also staring at that person with an evaluating gaze. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu concluded, well, he is really great. Jung Mo-eum seriously said, don't say that word anymore from now on. Suddenly, before anyone else, Seok-ryu's eyes met Kang Dan-ho's, who smiled and nodded at her, making before anyone else, Seok-ryu even more infatuated. She recalled the time before at the sandwich shop, when before anyone else, Seok-ryu and her ex-boyfriend had a big fight. Why do you suddenly want to break up with me? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu questioned, but he coldly walked away. From now on, I'll focus on music only. I have to respond to my fans' love too. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu tried to hold him back. I even took time to come see you. I'm busy too. I have to prepare for the mock exam. The guy turned around, slightly annoyed, and said, you're rich, so if you're busy, just take a taxi home quickly. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu got angry. What? You know what I mean? It's not like that. I can't just leave like this. But the guy still coldly walked away. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu helplessly sat down on the street, her mood plummeting. Is he really like that? Just as she was feeling down, suddenly a deep voice sounded above her head. You'd be better off without him. He doesn't even recognize you. You don't eat the green tea flavor? I always leave out the green tea ice cream whenever you order. The guy stepped forward and smiled, echoing in her head. Without him, you'd be better off. He doesn't even recognize it. You don't eat the green tea flavor? The other person stepped forward and smiled. I always leave out the green tea cream whenever you order it, but hey. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu looked up and quickly recognized the face. Ah, he's an employee at the waffle shop. Just then, Kang Dan-ho brought something over. Here, eat this and cheer up. I made the cake myself. I even drew a little dog on top. Cute, right? Haha. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu took the cake. She looked helpless. This must be a puppy from hell. While she was dazed, the person already turned and walked away, and comforted him that he would find someone better. That's what I think. She, before anyone else, Seok-ryu, looked at Kang Dan-ho's smile for a long time. Until he left and returned to the present, she looked at the puppy cake and sighed, remembering that day vividly. Kang Dan-ho gave it to me. Choi Seung-hyo stared at the cake in his hand, though he didn't want to admit it. He had to acknowledge. It was really cute. But soon after, he put on a cold face and set it aside. Not cute at all. Opposite him, Seung-hyo ate the cake while praising, saying it was pretty good too. Then, before anyone else, Seok-ryu said, their sandwiches are even better, but unfortunately, those sandwiches are sold out now. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu frowned, looking toward the counter and said, earlier, there were too many customers, so I couldn't talk to Kang Dan-ho, and now he's talking to customers again. Too long, lovebirds, responding, oh, you didn't do anything either. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu said, I know. But at the same time behind, Choi Seung-hyo was busy arranging books. Just as before anyone else, Seok-ryu turned around, she saw him putting on glasses, getting ready to study, then suddenly shouted, Choi Seung-hyo, are you planning to study here? Choi Seung-hyo calmly replied, what else is there to do? Seung-hyo heard that and also took out a notebook. I want to study too. Do you want to study with us? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu gave them a strange look. You two are really weird. She refused, stood up, and walked away. Have fun studying, you two. I just want to return the hoodie Kang Dan-ho lent me. At that moment, suddenly from the opposite side came a questioning voice. Why can't you do that? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was startled. Kang Dan-ho laughed and explained, bro, you can't always ask us to owe you. If possible, you should pay off your debts to us first. The man negotiated. Come on, we're brothers. Have you forgotten who solves your mess? Right? Yes. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu watched this scene and suddenly tensed. What's going on? Are they fighting? She turned her back and walked away, thinking whether she should tell everyone. At that moment, the man spoke up. Fine, today I'll let it slide, he said while turning around but accidentally bumped into Before anyone else, Seok-ryu. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu staggered and lost balance, falling forward. But just as she was about to hit the table, a hand grabbed her. Oh no, sorry, the man apologized. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu turned to face him and replied, it's okay. The man stared at Before anyone else, Seok-ryu, and suddenly asked, are you a celebrity? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu didn't dare to look him in the eye. What? The man continued. You look familiar. Where have I met you before? Oh. Hearing that, before anyone else, Seok-ryu suddenly tensed. Who is this guy? She stepped back. Oh, do I look like someone? But you're not a celebrity, the man insisted, but your face looks very familiar. Hearing the noise nearby, Seung-hyo and Choi Seung-hyo looked over. What's going on? Are they arguing? Meanwhile, the man suddenly exclaimed, right, I remember now. Seo Hae-suk's daughter. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was a bit shocked to be recognized. The man continued, wow, interesting. Why did you come here? Is it because… Just as he was about to say something, Kang Dan-ho rushed in to stand in front of Before anyone else, Seok-ryu, smiling, bro, you still owe me money. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu worried Kang Dan-ho would be troubled, peeked out and heard the man say, ha, it's you again. He leaned forward as if warning, hey Kang Dan-ho, don't you see I'm talking? I said I'll pay, you trash. I'm your friend, can't you wait a bit? When someone helps you, you have to repay. Okay, without me, someone like you couldn't… Suddenly, a firm voice cut in, excuse me. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu spoke strongly. Don't talk to my friend like that. Please don't be rude when talking to him. As she said this, both Kang Dan-ho and the man looked at her in surprise. Only the CEO knew how tense she was. He was really scary. The man kept staring at Before anyone else. Seok-ryu then suddenly seemed to think of something. Buddy. At that moment, a finger poked the man's back. Excuse me, the police are here. You'd better run. They're here to catch troublemakers like you. Dae-han announced the shocking news with a calm face. The man was surprised to hear that. Choi Seung-hyo reminded him, did you hear the police siren? Only then did the man snap out of it. Along with the EOE sound in his ear, Choi Seung-hyo added, see? Everyone is looking at you. The man suddenly panicked and ran away. What the hell, Kang Dan-ho? Why did you do that to me? At this moment, Seung-hyo also stepped forward, picked up the bag, and handed it to Choi Seung-hyo. In her heart, she despised that man deeply. She couldn't believe he was fooled by this. When the surroundings quieted down, before anyone else, Seok-ryu gave Choi Seung-hyo a thumbs up and praised, you're awesome, Choi Seung-hyo. So fast. When did you call the police? Choi Seung-hyo calmly raised his phone and replied, I pretended to. The CEO wasn't too surprised, saying, I knew it, you shameless guy. At that moment, a laugh suddenly burst out at the checkout counter. Then Kang Dan-ho laughed so hard that his whole body trembled. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was surprised. Kang Dan-ho, what's going on? Kang Dan-ho laughed and said, you guys are more interesting than I thought, haha. Then he looked at Choi Seung-hyo and said, Thanks, friend of before anyone else Seok-ryu. Whenever you come here, that man always does that. Seeing him so flustered was really satisfying. Yes, Jiyeon, she replied. I understand. You've worked hard. Kang Dan-ho looked toward before anyone else Seok-ryu again. Thank you too. Before anyone else Seok-ryu. Before anyone else Seok-ryu was surprised? Me? I didn't do anything. Kang Dan-ho explained. You're on my side, so what do you want from the menu? It's on me. Before anyone else Seok-ryu hesitated. Well, instead of paying for me, you pay for yourself. Kang Dan-ho smiled. What? Before anyone else Seok-ryu was nervous and gripped the bag strap tightly. Kang Dan-ho spoke again. Let's go watch a movie this weekend. Then she smiled, her eyes sparkling with anticipation as she looked at him. At the same time, Choi Seung-hyo was staring at her intently, but was extremely panicked inside. Kang Dan-ho was stunned by this sudden proposal. Seeing the atmosphere freeze, before anyone else Seok-ryu awkwardly said, Don't make a fuss. It's not just the two of us. Right, Kang Dan-ho added. I mean with Choi Seung-hyo and Young Mo-yeum too. Haha. Young Mo-yeum was shocked as if hearing it for the first time. Hearing that, Kang Dan-ho on the other side became more natural. I'm very willing. What about you guys? Jung Mo-yeum's mouth dropped open as if Se-yoon was on her body. Young Mo-yeum said, He is too. Choi Seung-hyo, you're coming too, right? Young Mo-yeum, when did I say that? But Se-yoon didn't care. She walked over and handed the bag to Kang Dan-ho. This is the hoodie you lent me last time. Now Choi Seung-hyo stood behind, staring at the two. Then he opened his mouth. All right. Se-yoon was very happy and hugged Young Mo-yeum. It'll be fun. But Young Mo-yeum wasn't happy. Did I say I would go? Se-yoon, the weekend is coming as planned. At the movie theater, it was quite crowded. Before anyone else Seok-ryu saw a long line in front and was surprised. Wow, the popcorn stand is so crowded. If this keeps up, Young Mo-yeum will buy the tickets first. Kang Dan-ho looked at before anyone else Seok-ryu's outfit today. Suddenly, he said, This is the outfit you showed me before. You asked if you should buy it or not. Before anyone else Seok-ryu was very surprised. You still remember? Why? Kang Dan-ho casually adjusted her collar. Before anyone else Seok-ryu gently replied, Of course. Before anyone else Seok-ryu was nervous but watched his movements happily, glad she invited him. He looked even better than at the sandwich shop. Moreover, today he was absolutely perfect. Kang Dan-ho is always perfect in my eyes. I just changed my style and he noticed immediately. Always perfect. Don't tell me he's thinking about this. The CEO's heart pounded wildly. Choi Seung-hyo stood aside, speechless at her infatuated expression. Suddenly, someone came over and grabbed Kang Dan-ho's arm, calling, Kang Dan-ho. The person was a bit surprised, but Kang Dan-ho reacted quickly, very surprised. Hana, you're here too? Kang Dan-ho suddenly remembered something and asked, Didn't you say you usually study on weekends? Haha, Hana replied, My friend dragged me here because there are some exhibitions today. Kang Dan-ho said, I saw you changed your profile picture. Hana laughed. You noticed? Am I pretty? Kang Dan-ho replied, Pretty, but prettier in person. Hana asked, I'm the prettiest, right? Kang Dan-ho laughed. Whatever, haha, hey CEO. Watching their friendly banter, Kang Dan-ho was a bit stunned. Then he remembered and turned to introduce. This is my high school friend, Jong Hana. Hana tilted her head and waved at everyone. Before anyone else Seok-ryu smiled warmly. Nice to meet you. I'm before anyone else, Seok-ryu. Hana was very surprised. Oh, so you're the friend he mentioned last time. Stopped for a moment. She noticed the person beside her and asked suspiciously, Jiyeon, right? Hana kept talking continuously. I like your mom the most among the chefs at SAOBA. And are you really Seo Haesuk's daughter? Choi Seung-hyo replied, I'll pass the message to my mom. Surely she will be very happy, Se also replied. Yes, she is my mom. Do you go to high school? She was speaking in the middle when Hana turned to look at Kang Dan-ho and exclaimed, I didn't expect you to know people like this. Kang Dan-ho replied to Hana, No, didn't you say you came with a friend? Hana answered, Ah, he's on the phone, so I planned to buy something while waiting. Before anyone else Seok-ryu was a bit embarrassed when ignored. Kang Dan-ho casually asked, Are you going to eat caramel popcorn again? Hana said, Of course not. Who eats that at the cinema, right? Se was a bit surprised. Yes. Then she laughed and said, That's right, I also like caramel popcorn and nachos too. At that moment, a loud cry suddenly interrupted the conversation. Hana tilted her head. Oh my, the baby is crying so loudly. Kang Dan-ho suddenly remembered, Isn't your younger brother about this age? Hana replied, Yes, the boy has grown a lot. Do you want to see a photo? After before anyone else Seok-ryu looked at the two people awkwardly, suddenly a voice rang out. What else do you like? Before anyone else Seok-ryu looked up and caught a puppy-like attentive gaze from Choi Seung-hyo said, Go ahead and say it. I'm listening. Oh, I see, Kang Dan-ho realized. Huh? Did before anyone else Seok-ryu just say something? Before anyone else Seok-ryu was a bit shy because of the sudden attention. Oh, nothing. She then laughed. I just said nachos are also good. Hana suddenly spoke. My friend is calling me back, so I have to go. Bye. Before anyone else. Seok-ryu, waving her hand. See you again. Have fun. Not far from there, she saw Jung Mo-yeum. Huh, Jung Moeum is walking this way. Jung Moeum stepped forward from the opposite side of the pho stall. We're in trouble. These are the only seats left. The four people looked at the seating positions. Jung Moeum frowned. It's our fault for not reserving seats before the weekend. It's the same all other times too. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu said, I can sit in the back. Jung Moeum spoke up. That's not fair, but are you guys really okay with these seats? The other three said, in agreement. Then the CEO pointed a finger at the screen and pressed it. A small game began, and the result of the game escalation was the front seats for Kang Dan-ho and IU, while the back seats were CEO and Jihan. Seeing this result, Jung Moeum felt a bit awkward. At SAO, it's me, not CE. So she opened her mouth. CE, do you want to switch seats? Before she finished, Kang Dan-ho interrupted IU. I'd be sad. I'm fine sitting like this. Let's get to know each other, he said. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu went forward, looking back while saying, let's go in too. Choi Seung-hyo. But at this moment, she just realized, where is he? Entering the cinema, before anyone else, Seok-ryu thought, Jung Moeum seemed uncomfortable. He'll be okay, right? Actually, IU was not okay at all. Despite Kang Dan-ho's enthusiasm, she was calm on the outside but uneasy inside. It was really uncomfortable. Just then, a box of popcorn was placed beside her. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu looked up in surprise and saw Choi Seung-hyo. Hey, where did you go? I was looking for you. Now Choi Seung-hyo replied, oh, I just. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu ate a piece of popcorn, then said, good thing you came back before it started. She thought to herself, I wonder if Choi Seung-hyo is okay with the seating arrangement. Thinking that, she asked him, is it okay sitting in the back? Now, Choi Seung-hyo said, it's okay. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu understood silently. All right then. Suddenly, before anyone else, Seok-ryu moved closer and said, so this must be the most comfortable seat for you, huh? Choi Seung-hyo widened his eyes, suddenly tense and confused, looking at her. Why would you do that? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu replied, among the three of us, I'm closest to you, aren't I? Choi Seung-hyo felt a bit awkward. First, go to your seat. Okay. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu agreed, then laughed and asked, am I right? She asked but didn't hear Choi Seung-hyo's reply. After a while, he finally spoke. You definitely don't like this, do you? You just want to sit next to him. Yeah. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu froze. Are you rubbing salt in my wound? Choi Seung-hyo replied, yeah, probably. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu recalled the scene when Kang Dan-ho was chatting closely with Hana, as well as his carefree smile when he said it was no problem sitting like this. She still felt a bit strange. Something just happened to me. Maybe you worry about me too much, always worrying about nothing. You don't understand me. I'm even annoyed with myself. Then she took a sip of Coca-Cola, then coughed harshly, but still kept saying, oh, whatever, it counts. I'm like that already. Second, Choi Seung-hyo handed over a tissue, reminding to finish drinking before speaking, but after she wiped her mouth, she spaced out, forgot what she was going to say. Then it was Choi Seung-hyo's turn. With nothing left to say, he sat up straight for a long while, then suddenly, spoke. I-07, hope you're okay then. CEY was surprised. Choi Seung-hyo said, of course you usually worry excessively about things in the past, but I've never seen hope for you. Hearing that before anyone else, Seok-ryu gaped. Then she said this, Choi Seung-hyo, I just realized a few things. You said this is part of my personality already, so just live like that. Haha, didn't expect you to think that way, you're really good. Then she reached over to take some snacks, from Choi Seung-hyo's hand. I want to eat that too. Choi Seung-hyo handed it over and asked, you're not doing this on purpose, right? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu replied, WHO would purposely choke on that. Even so, thanks for saying that. 2. Choi Seung-hyo tilted his head, looking at before anyone else, Seok-ryu. A sound. Then the cinema screen lit up. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu excitedly, oh, it's starting! After the movie ended in the restroom. After washing his hands, Kang Dan-ho waved to shake off water. He looked outside and saw CEO and Choi Seung-hyo. Laughing and talking happily, he suddenly pondered something. Then, after a while, Choi Seung-hyo also entered the restroom. Kang Dan-ho saw him and said, hey, Choi Seung-hyo, did you like the movie now? Choi Seung-hyo stepped forward to wash his hands. Yeah, not bad. I think so. What about you? I heard your favorite director made this movie. Kang Dan-ho replied. Oh, CEO must have told you right, I liked it. Pause, he smiled, then said, but I think you liked it more now. Choi Seung-hyo was a bit stunned, hearing that, and looked surprised at Kang Dan-ho. Why now? Kang Dan-ho adjusted his hair casually, said, because you sat next to before anyone else, Seok-ryu. Every time she's near your ears. Kang Dan-ho poked the red soap bar, laughing, said it changed to this color. Hearing that, Choi Seung-hyo's eyes suddenly widened, then he froze. What the heck? Kang Dan-ho saw his expression change. Dizzy like that is really fun. Seems like you haven't realized that, so I said it. Just then, Kang Dan-ho's phone rang. He picked up Nuna's sister. But after hearing what was said on the other end, he was horrified. What, a moment later outside the cinema, everyone gathered around Kang Dan-ho before anyone else. Seok-ryu worriedly asked, hasn't she contacted your grandmother yet? Kang Dan-ho sadly sat on a small chair, softly replied, not yet. I started blaming myself. I forgot some things at home, so maybe she came here to bring them to me. But since she left the house, my sister hasn't been able to call her anymore. What should I do? I told her she didn't need to bring them, but yes, Kang Dan-ho. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu called him once she bent down, looking into his eyes. Kang Dan-ho, calm down. Choi Seung-hyo also comforted. That's right, you must be very worried, but focus on finding her first. We'll help Young. Mo-eum also spoke up. You said she came near the cinema, right? Kang Dan-ho nodded. Yeah, Choi Seung-hyo suggested. Then let me go ask the information desk and look around the first floor lobby. Say. Yeol also said, I'll go look on the floor with the cinema now. Young Mo-eum spoke. And I'll look in the parking lot and the park behind the building. I'll call you if anything. They quickly split up and ran off. Kang Dan-ho still sat like a statue there. He bowed his head, just replied thanks. But after a few steps, the car worriedly stopped. She looked toward Kang Dan-ho, then called Kang Dan-ho. Just hearing this call, Kang Dan-ho didn't understand why, then froze before anyone else. Seok-ryu saw he didn't respond, so stepped forward slightly, reaching out to touch him. Why are you okay? Kang Dan-ho's eyes widened in horror. A photo of the little girl from years ago flashed in his mind. Then he suddenly shook off the arm of the car, making her very surprised. Very quickly after that, Kang Dan-ho realized his overreaction. He didn't dare look at before anyone else. Seok-ryu. Sorry, I was just surprised if you find her. Call me then. Kang Dan-ho was about to leave, but before anyone else, Seok-ryu called him again. She grabbed Kang Dan-ho's arm with both hands, trying to comfort. I've been through this before. Just a moment after looking away, she was gone. I was so worried I had trouble searching for her at times like this. Calmly think about where your grandmother would go first. It's better people living nearby if they see her alone. They'll definitely be willing to help, alright? Kang Dan-ho looked at before anyone else Seok-ryu a bit, then was silent for a long while before replying. Alright, let's go. But the expression on Kang Dan-ho's face makes before anyone else Seok-ryu uneasy. Kang Dan-ho, you're sweating profusely. I'm worried about you. I just want to say don't worry too much. Everything will be fine now. Kang Dan-ho frowned slightly, then suddenly spoke. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu heard the fierceness in his voice and was a bit incredulous. At this moment, his voice was trembling. Kang Dan-ho clenched his hands tightly, trying to keep calm. Something like this had happened before. So you should stop now. The ending wasn't good at all. You say it will be fine, but it's not always like that. They only treat well when those lucky kids aren't around. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was confused by what he said. What do you mean? Kang Dan-ho gritted his teeth and continued, some people aren't as lucky as that. Suddenly, before anyone else, Seok-ryu interrupted Kang Dan-ho. There must be some misunderstanding. I just want you to know I understand your feelings to some extent. Kang Dan-ho snapped at before anyone else, Seok-ryu. How could you understand my feelings? Not every kid in this world is as lucky as you. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was shocked by what Kang Dan-ho said. Her whole body stiffened. Ignoring Kang Dan-ho, who turned his back and left, she said, stop talking. The hallway lights flickered continuously before finally going out, leaving her alone. The car suddenly stopped among the moving crowd. Meanwhile, outside the cinema, Young Mo-eum was still diligently searching around. She sighed inwardly, not wanting to get involved in such troublesome matters. But she couldn't just turn a blind eye. She was a bit impatient and realized she probably shouldn't have come here. Maybe I should have just stayed home and watched Netflix. Just as Young Mo-eum looked up, she seemed to see something and was very surprised. Young Mo-eum suddenly recalled what Kang Dan-ho described about his grandmother. My grandmother must be wearing the black coat she wore this morning. Young Mo-eum diligently took notes. Black? Now Kang Dan-ho said there was a large picture of a singer on the coat. And she was wearing wool pants too. I don't remember if she wore a necklace, but if she did, it would have studs on it. Hearing this, Young Mo-eum's face froze. Huh? Kang Dan-ho continued. She has dementia, so I'm even more worried. It's crowded here today. If we can't find her, what then? Returning to the present. When Yoon saw the old lady dressed very stylishly sitting on a bench feeding birds, she was shocked. How could anyone ignore her? Young Mo-eum looked at the old lady for a moment, then approached to greet her. Hello, ma'am. The old lady looked up. I have nothing for you, dear. This is Guzik's food, Young Mo-eum explained. No, ma'am. Your family is looking for you. Let me take you home. The old lady was surprised. Family? What family? Yes, Young Mo-eum clarified. I'm Kang Dan-ho's granddaughter. You don't remember your grandson? The old lady asked. Oh, what does he look like? Young Mo-eum was very surprised. Yes. Then she recalled Kang Dan-ho's description. He has an eyebrow piercing and seems to always smile. He's about 1.78 meters tall and, he's handsome. Saying this, Young Mo-eum seemed a bit reluctant. Suddenly, the old lady enthusiastically clapped her hands. Ah, yes, that's my grandson. Right, I must give my beloved grandson his charger. Young Mo-eum asked, why doesn't she answer his calls? He's very worried about her. The old lady explained, after giving him the charger, I'm going to a concert, so I left the phone at home. If I get caught, my granddaughter will nag me a lot. My little granddaughter is really scary. Yes, ma'am, you keep saying that, I know. My grandson was even cuter when he was little. That's why he appeared on TV. I'm glad someone recognized him. How handsome is my grandson? Young Mo-eum hummed in agreement. Yes, he's handsome. But inside she was extremely tired and missed. Before anyone else Seok-ryu so much. She wondered where he was now. Meanwhile, inside the cinema, before anyone else Seok-ryu was still searching everywhere. Where could she be? I have to prioritize finding her and not get distracted. He said she has white hair and is wearing black clothes. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu ran through the crowd and suddenly spotted a figure that matched the description of the old lady. Almost immediately, she rushed over, but suddenly a man's voice rang out. Mom, where are you? Seok-ryu saw a man walking toward the old lady. She looked at the two and suddenly realized it wasn't her. She ran a full circle, having searched the entire first floor. Why is it so crowded here? At that moment, before anyone else, Seok-ryu ran past a large poster with a picture of her mother on it and paused briefly. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu recalled Kang Dan-ho's words that not every child in this world is as lucky as him. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu didn't understand what he meant, but she didn't stop for long and quickly walked past him. After just 2 steps, she stopped again in front of another poster. Here, before anyone else, Seok-ryu heard noisy voices. She turned her head and saw some people looking at her with surprised eyes over there. What? You know the girl from the Super Goddess series? No way. Strange, why is she appearing here? Jinsola is also here? No, she wouldn't come here today. Because that man is coming to the premiere. Hey, she heard us. Lower your voice. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu withdrew her gaze. She turned her head and closed her eyes to calm down, but the whispering continued. She recalled the malicious comments from before. Getting older and losing her looks, she was so pretty when she was little, but before anyone else, Seok-ryu was like a girl desperate to be loved. So young yet so cunning. How could they let a child do that? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu sat in front of the computer screen. She read all the harsh comments. The next day, she innocently asked her mother, "Mom, what does cunning mean?" Seok-ryu tilted her head and asked, "Who told you that?" Before anyone else, Seok-ryu. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu honestly said, "Everyone said I was cunning in the comments." Yes, Seok-ryu gently explained. Oh dear, that means they're saying you're smart. You don't need to pay attention to people who don't understand what you're saying. Ignore their words, just focus on doing what you have to do. Just then, someone entered. Seok-ryu happily exclaimed, "Oh dear, he's here." Then she turned to remind before anyone else, Seok-ryu. "Alright, what did I tell you to do today?" Before anyone else, Seok-ryu. While before anyone else, Seok-ryu was still recalling her mother's words, the man over there extended his hand to her. "Very nice to meet you, kid. You are before anyone else, Seok-ryu, right?" Before anyone else, Seok-ryu looked at the man's outstretched hand, filled with regrets left behind. "If I had the chance to change just one of those things, I would definitely never have met you." This thought just passed through her mind when before anyone else, Seok-ryu suddenly heard footsteps close behind. Her eyes widened in horror, her whole body suddenly cold. Meanwhile, in another place, Choi Seung-hyo was also searching everywhere. Later, he received a phone call. "Hello, IU. I'm so glad you found her. I've also tried calling others, but no one answered. It's a bit noisy here, so I'll hang up and go there right away. If they call me on the way, I'll tell them." After hanging up, Choi Seung-hyo asked a passerby, "Excuse me, why are so many people gathered here?" The woman replied, "Because today is the premiere event. The representative actor of the premiere is that guy over there, Lee Jong-hyun." Meanwhile, before anyone else, Seok-ryu was still standing silently there. The sound of heels clicking grew closer until the silence behind startled her suddenly. Her eyes were vacant as she turned around. Then before anyone else, Seok-ryu heard the man call her. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu, long time no see. He spoke while stepping toward her. "You've grown a lot." The friendly man started a conversation, but before anyone else, Seok-ryu didn't dare look at him, her whole body sweating coldly. Although he became known quite late, if you had to pick the most famous actor right now, most people would name him, a man whose fame seemed never to fade. But this man was my mother's ex-boyfriend. He cheated on my mother while on her side. While talking, I heard that my mother was about to get married. Is he a good person? Seeing his fake face, before anyone else, Seok-ryu gritted her teeth at him. "Do you know how much my mother was hurt because of you? Of course, you know very well. All the disgusting things you did, you still have the nerve to ask me that? How? How can you be so indifferent when you lied to us and betrayed my mother without blinking? How dare you come near me, you shameless trash?" Angry, her voice was a bit loud. Behind her, someone called out as if reminding her, "CEO." The CEO then snapped back to reality. She turned around and saw many people eavesdropping on their conversation. The CEO turned back, lowering her voice. "Don't worry, he's the one who made it happen. He's definitely much better than him." In-hyun doubted. "Much better? How?" Before anyone else, Seok-ryu firmly confirmed. "Right." In-hyun asked, "How do you know? How do you know what kind of person he is?" Before anyone else, Seok-ryu looked straight into In-hyun's eyes and said, "Of course, he's better than him." At the same time, someone was rushing through the crowd. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu's tone was firm because unlike that man, he didn't push my mother into hell. Hearing that, the man frowned and said, "Oh, I admit your mother had a difficult time because of me. But have you ever thought that you also bear some responsibility in that matter?" Choi Seung-hyo ran down the hallway, panting heavily but still scanning around. Hearing the questioning tone, before anyone else, Seok-ryu bowed his head and spoke with difficulty. "I don't know what to say." Seeing the tension in her eyes, In-hyun calmly said, "You're still the same, haven't changed at all." At that moment, someone rushed over urgently and then said to In-hyun, "Don't leave on your own like that." In-hyun turned his head. "Sorry, I saw a familiar face," the man urged again. "No matter what, you have to go immediately. You still have to get on stage soon." Not far away, Choi Seung-hyo had also arrived here. In the crowd, before anyone else, Seok-ryu glanced and saw him, and Choi Seung-hyo happened to look this way. Their eyes met. On this side, In-hyun said, I have to go now. Before anyone else say Seok-ryu, I just came to say hello because I missed you. Don't glare at me like that. After all, there were times when we had a good relationship, and maybe still do. Saying that, he turned his back and left, leaving before anyone else Seok-ryu biting her lip to endure. In-hyun stepped toward the crowd, even past events. Because mother didn't want it, there were no articles about him. That's why almost no one knew my mother, and In-hyun separated because he cheated. In-hyun left, and the crowd dispersed. But before anyone else Seok-ryu still stood there stunned. After a while, someone came over calling, before anyone else Seok-ryu. She glanced and saw Choi Seung-hyo. He said IU1 had found Kang Dan-ho's grandmother, but he was sure Choi Seung-hyo thought I was very stupid. Because I couldn't even speak properly to the person who betrayed my mother, before anyone else Seok-ryu thought. She acted as if nothing happened and said, oh, that's great. Then Choi Seung-hyo said, he's at the nearby park. Before anyone else Seok-ryu stepped forward quickly. Let's go quickly. Actually, inside she was extremely panicked and awkward. She suddenly remembered. In Hyun's words, have you ever thought you also bear some responsibility in that matter? She groaned. Oh, I'm sorry. Before anyone else Seok-ryu said as her bag's contents spilled everywhere. The man was annoyed. You should watch where you're going. Seeing before anyone else, Seok-ryu just standing there like a statue, Choi Seung-hyo bent down to help her pick up the things. He suddenly looked up and glanced at before anyone else Seok-ryu, gently comforting her. It's not your fault. Before anyone else Seok-ryu stood silently for a long time before speaking. Choi Seung-hyo said, I'm hungry, then sat down to help Jiyeon pick up things and put them into the bag. Jiyeon spoke up, I'll bring Kang Dan-ho's grandmother to him, and then go eat. Before anyone else Seok-ryu replied, all right. Let's find something delicious to eat. BBQ maybe? It's almost time, right? If it's break time, shall we go? Choi Seung-hyo didn't answer, just quietly watched before anyone else Seok-ryu ramble. Later, before anyone else, Seok-ryu opened her phone and saw many messages from Young Mo-eum. She was surprised and sighed. Young Mo-eum sent so many messages. Where is he? Seeing the message, call me immediately. Before anyone else Seok-ryu, you're dead to me tomorrow. Until returning to Kang Dan-ho's house, Young Mo-eum finally received a call from the CEO. Yes, CEO, it's okay. I've handled everything. She wanted to go home, so I took her back. I don't have his contact number. Please call him for me, okay? But his voice sounded strange. All right, if you can't talk now, let's do it next time. The call ended abruptly. She recalled the chaotic scene an hour ago when she tried hard to stop the old lady, who was full of energy and running forward. I told you I have to go to the music event, but you brought that kid's charger. Young Mo-eum insisted on stopping the old lady. Please wait, your grandchild is coming. The old lady suddenly stopped and asked, oh, but what time is it now? Young Mo-eum replied, a little past 2 o'clock. Hearing that, the old lady stiffened and then ran straight ahead. It's over now. We have to go home. Young Mo-eum ran after her, shouting, then please contact your grandchild first. Wait, Grandma. Running halfway, the old lady stopped. I forgot the way home. The old lady stared blankly. Then how have you been getting home all this time? She turned and asked Dongbak. Do you know Dongbak? Feeling relieved, she silently thanked heaven because she knew where Dongbak's apartment was, wondering when she would finally let her go home. Looking at the big and small apples that the old lady was peeling, I was really speechless, and the old lady very innocently asked Young Mo-eum if she really wouldn't eat them. When my grandchildren were little, they always asked me to give them more food than their siblings. Every child likes apples, right? Look at the old lady just now. She told me to stay for 5 more minutes, but now she insists that I have to finish all these apples before I can leave. Young Mo-eum explains for the nth time. I already said I can't eat apples, and my name is Young Mo-eum, not Young Mo-eum sitting a bit longer. Young Mo-eum, impatient, picks up her bag and says, I have to go now. The family will worry if I'm late. At this moment, the old lady suddenly grabs her hand. Don't go yet. I want to play with you more. Young Mo-eum repeats, it's Young Mo-eum. The old lady speaks, look at the photos of my grandchildren and then go, just stay a little longer. Young Mo-eum says, I'll leave in 10 minutes really. The old lady takes out a photo album and points to a child in it. This grandchild is 4 years old. Adorable, isn't he? Young Mo-eum replies blandly, yes, he's very cute. Then let's look at the next album. It's already been 30 minutes. The 10 minutes have passed. You promised you'd let me leave after looking through all this, right? The old lady says. You're really heartless, Young Mo-eum. But at this moment, Young Mo-eum suddenly sees something. She picks up a photo and asks if she knows him. The old lady glances over. Of course. Pauses a bit, then says, I know because he's my grandson. I know that girl, she always turns off the TV whenever she appears. Maybe he doesn't like her. Hearing that, Young Mo-eum's eyes widen in surprise. At that moment, there's the sound of the door unlocking. The old lady quickly runs out. He must be back. As the door opens, the old lady sees Kang Dan-ho and happily exclaims, Is that you, darling? Kang Dan-ho looks at the old lady and says, Yes, I'm back. She says, then when he looks up, he suddenly sees Young Mo-eum's pale face. She's also looking at him. Kang Dan-ho opens his mouth. I didn't know you came back here with her. Kang Dan-ho's attention quickly shifts to the old lady. He takes the charger from her hand and softly says, Grandma, I was really worried about you. Next time, don't go out alone anymore, okay? From now on, you don't need to bring this to me. I'm serious. If you need it urgently, you can borrow it from a friend. I borrowed it today too, so I don't need it. The old lady is surprised. A friend? What friend? The young man with the ponytail? Kang Dan-ho glances at young Mo-eum and replies to the old lady, just a friend, named Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu. Young Mo-eum, on this side, is tidying up the photo albums, feeling shy and avoiding his gaze. Not sure why, she feels uneasy and quickly rushes outside. Seeing her leave, Kang Dan-ho says, "Thanks, Young Mo-eum. I heard today you took my grandma home." Young Mo-eum doesn't hesitate for a second or look at him and replies, "Yeah, I should go now." Kang Dan-ho says, "Yeah, thanks. Bye." Until Yu-un puts on shoes at the door, she still hears Kang Dan-ho's voice. "Grandma, what did you say to young Mo-eum? You're not insisting on going to the concert again, right?" The old lady replies, "Of course not. I'm very happy. I just talked about some random things while looking at the album." The old lady happily shows a spinning top. "Look, this one belongs to young Mo-eum. Pretty, right? It just keeps spinning." Kang Dan-ho says, "Uh-huh." The old lady says, "Oh right, there was a photo before." Quickly, Kang Dan-ho suddenly goes outside. He calls young Mo-eum. "Maybe grandma borrowed this pen from you. I'll take you to the bus stop." He suddenly grabs young Mo-eum's arm, making her a bit startled. "You scared me." She refuses Kang Dan-ho. "I can go by myself. I already gave grandma that pen." Kang Dan-ho suddenly talks about the photo. I don't really know exactly what grandma said, but sometimes she says strange things. Jung Mo-eum looks up at him thoughtfully. "Did she tell you about what she said earlier?" Kang Dan-ho asks, "Did you tell Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu yet?" Jung Mo-eum replies, "Yes." "Why?" Kang Dan-ho smiles awkwardly. It's just that you look like you just heard something weird. Did he mention anything about me?" Young Mo-eum looks at Kang Dan-ho's expression and thinks, strange, why does he look so worried? Just then, Kang Dan-ho suddenly pulls Jung Mo-eum's sleeve. He looks straight into her eyes, a bit fierce. Jung Mo-eum suddenly panics and escapes his hand. She has a hunch that she shouldn't meddle in this matter. Just ignore it like usual. Don't say anything. Kang Dan-ho still looks intently at her and says, "I want to know." Jung Mo-eum bites her lip, but seeing him so worried is very strange. She thinks to herself, "Grandma said he doesn't seem to like him much. Don't say anything, don't say anything. But I don't understand why you finally opened your mouth to ask why you are close to Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu." Kang Dan-ho calmly thought maybe Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu mentioned me. I quarreled with him. At that time, I was a bit too angry because of my grandmother's matter. I felt very guilty, so I wanted to apologize to Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu. Jung Mo-eum silently looked at him as if evaluating how much truth was in his words. Kang Dan-ho felt uncomfortable with this gaze and spoke up, "Don't look at me like that. I was a bit harsh with Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu, but at that time I couldn't hold back. Almost everyone likes to be comforted, so maybe Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu tried to do that. But good intentions are not always welcomed." "I don't understand what you're saying," Kang Dan-ho said strangely. "Kids who have everything in life often see life as very rosy. At least the ones I know are like that. They think they see everything clearly. They believe that if they have kindness, everything will be fine. No matter what they do, they will always be loved. So they take that love for granted. Of course, the CEO might be different, but if he is like that, I can't see things that way either." Kang Dan-ho suddenly lowered his voice. "He took it away already. I have no other way." Just then, an important sound of something breaking inside the house interrupted Kang Dan-ho's words. This sound made him realize he had said too much. Jung Mo-eum, seeing the panic on his face, boldly asked, "What did he take?" But Kang Dan-ho just smiled as usual. "That's enough. Today, you must be the most extreme person in the group. I don't even know why I told you this. I'm sorry." Jung Mo-eum wanted to hear more. "Go on, what did he take?" "Goodbye," Kang Dan-ho, ignoring her words. "Goodbye, Jung Mo-eum. Thanks for today. I spoke honestly." Then he slammed the door shut. Jung Mo-eum also left, but still glanced back inside the house. Kang Dan-ho still couldn't believe what he was thinking. Why did he tell him that? He bowed his head, recalling what he said to Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu. "Very few kids in this world are as lucky as you." Kang Dan-ho pressed his lips, suddenly feeling guilty for being harsh. At that moment, the door suddenly opened. Jung Mo-eum blocked the door and said frankly, "I was about to leave, but he kept bothering me." She boldly stepped in. "You're the same. You also think you know everything." Kang Dan-ho was surprised by her accusation. "What?" Jung Mo-eum asked. "Did Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu talk about you?" "Yes, he did. He said he was worried about you. He said you looked very worried, so he had to quickly find your grandmother." "But what did you just say? He told me about the fight? I feel sorry for you. When people treat you well, you just look at them suspiciously. You know people will always be in the shadows. If you live like that, who wouldn't be you? Be honest, you're just jealous of Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu." Saying that, Jung Mo-eum decisively wanted to leave, but Kang Dan-ho, who had been frozen, suddenly called out, "Wait, Jung Mo-eum." But Jung Mo-eum still walked straight ahead. "Damn it, don't talk about my friend like that ever again." She fiercely defended her best friend in front of others but was secretly scolding Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu in her heart. "You're so stupid. You're too good." After returning home, Before Anyone Else Seok-ryu opened her contacts, hesitating whether to call Kang Dan-ho. But in the end, she didn't call. Just then, Seok-ryu called before anyone else Seok-ryu, "If you're ready, let's go." So they went out with Choi Seung-hyo's family. During dinner, Mrs. Kim suddenly said, "I knew it, they're dating." Seok-ryu was surprised. "Really? Mrs. Kim is sure?" "Yes, Choi Seung-hyo rarely talks about his stuff. But every time he goes out with his car, he comes home and tells about that day." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu also heard this for the first time. She was very surprised. She tilted her head looking at Choi Seung-hyo suspiciously. "Did you do that?" Choi Seung-hyo didn't look at her. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu leaned forward and asked directly, "Wow, Choi Seung-hyo, did you do that? You should have told me." Choi Seung-hyo just looked at her silently, and before anyone else, Seok-ryu's heart, suddenly there was silence. So when he said, "I'm closer to him," was he lying? While she was thinking, Choi Seung-hyo suddenly called before anyone else Seok-ryu. "Before anyone else Seok-ryu," she answered, "Yes?" Then Choi Seung-hyo gave her a piece of meat. "Try this." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was surprised. "Huh? Why all of a sudden?" Despite that, she tried a bite, then happily exclaimed, "Wow, it's delicious. This is my favorite dish." Choi Seung-hyo enthusiastically handed it over to her so I could give it to you, showing you the natural interaction between the two kids. The man sitting opposite suddenly asked, "Are the two really dating?" The atmosphere at the dining table suddenly fell silent. Choi Taek-seon became noticeably more serious. "I thought you two were just joking. You should focus on studying and not get distracted by love affairs anymore." "Yes." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu felt awkward. She stood up and said, "I'm going to the restroom for a bit, right? Huh?" 2 minutes later, before anyone else, Seok-ryu returned with a very forced smile. I turned back, and he was still talking. Haha. Choi Taek-seon was still seriously explaining. "Of course, BA trusts before anyone else Seok-ryu, so he lets me meet her rather than doing other pointless things." From the car, I glanced to the side and realized that today, Choi Seung-hyo was unusually silent. Choi Taek-seon was over-controlling. He doesn't trust his own son, so that's why he said he'd rather meet me and pretend to date. Then that, Seok-ryu interrupted. "Oh, Choi Taek-seon," they said. They will do well in both studying and dating. But Choi Taek-seon ignored Seok-ryu. This matter couldn't be easily overlooked. Se looked at Choi Taek-seon and thought, when facing Choi Taek-seon, he often seems small, right? That's why. Choi Taek-seon looked at the two kids. "Choi Seung-hyo, promise your dad, okay? Are you planning to disappoint me, or did you suggest dating first?" He thought it was the boy. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu laughed awkwardly. "Haha, yes." She thought to herself that she needed to change the subject to end this conversation. While she was thinking that, Choi Seung-hyo suddenly spoke up. "Yes, yes." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu felt a bit relieved hearing him open his mouth. "That's right, you're good at talking, so change the subject." "I was the one who asked first," Choi Seung-hyo admitted. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was stunned hearing that. This was the second time he shocked her after the last meal. Choi Taek-seon frowned. What now? Before anyone else, Seok-ryu couldn't believe it. What is he doing this time? What is he thinking? Choi Taek-seon said, "If it's just curiosity or..." Before he finished, Choi Seung-hyo interrupted. "I asked him out because I like him. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu is really nice, and I like being around him." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu saw the determination on Choi Seung-hyo's face and was stunned, while Choi Seung-hyo beside her kept talking. "The CEO is very hardworking, so he often helps me study. I like that we can talk comfortably with each other." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu sat stiffly in one spot. If that's the case, haha, Choi Seung-hyo is really good at acting. I should try my best to respond, thinking that, before anyone else, Seok-ryu immediately spoke up. "And our grades have never dropped since we started dating. Look at Choi Seung-hyo. He's always top of the class." Choi Taek-seon looked serious, while Seok-ryu beside him was more excited than ever as the atmosphere froze. Then a voice rang out. "The girl is right. They only go to the library." "I know because sometimes I take them there, and they are very well behaved. So you don't need to worry, right?" Lee Seung-gyu suddenly turned to ask before anyone else Seok-ryu. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu was a bit touched. She was dazed for a moment before replying, "Yes." But it seemed Choi Taek-seon was still not satisfied. He looked at his son intently and reminded him, "Don't disappoint BA like last time." Choi Seung-hyo bowed his head and softly said yes. On the opposite side, Lee Seung-gyu asked Han about the CEO's schedule. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu looked at the two of them and felt grateful. "He's so kind. I hope I can become close to him soon." Thinking that, she suddenly asked, "Uncle, is that a scene from Animal School?" Lee Seung-ju replied, "Yes, you probably know it." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu continued, "Yes, I like animals, so I watch it a lot. I saw your pet. It appeared for a while in the episode. It's so cute." "Uncle Cho, can I see pictures?" Lee Seung-gyu asked again. "Are Mr. Ha?" Lee Seung-gyu handed his phone to before anyone else, Seok-ryu to look at. He said, "This toy doesn't last more than a month. Mr. Ha likes something. He cherishes it to death." Before anyone else, Seok-ryu laughed and replied, "Haha, so cute." Then she asked if he had any pictures from when it was young. At that moment, the CEO called Lee Seung-gyu, so he decisively handed the phone to the CEO. "CEO, take a look." The CEO took it but accidentally pressed somewhere, and she saw Min's chat window. Sok was chatting with someone named Kim Taewon. The other person messaged, "Please call back later. yes. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu glanced over. She thought this was the person the uncle had just talked to on the phone. He returned soon after. Lee Seung-hyo also came back shortly. He asked, "You said you wanted to see pictures from when it was young, right?" Before anyone else, Seok-ryu obediently replied, "Yes." The dinner ended. Both families said their goodbyes. Seo-suk said, "Then see you again in 30 minutes. Mother Kim replied, "I heard that, Seo-suk. I heard Seon did very well at the English summer camp." Seo-suk felt a bit proud. Of course. My second daughter is much braver than I am. Before anyone else, Seok-ryu also left his seat. Suddenly, she thought of something. Wait, Kim Tae-won thought. Sometimes his intuition was right, but not always. So when it was right, it was very scary. She slightly looked up at Lee Seung-hyo. Just now, when he went to the restroom, she heard a woman's voice coming from his phone.